All right, I think we're live. Hey, everyone. Let's get started with our office hours as we always do. We're going to have a short presentation first, and then we'll have an open kind of AMA, talk anything you like about Bixby there. So let me show you my presentation. And
Oh, Roger, should we drop like the links in and stuff for the...
I did that a little later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so what he's reminding me. So two, one, if you have any questions, you should go on to the YouTube and go ahead and put your questions in even while we're talking, because we'll collect them and answer them afterwards. So it helps kind of kickstart the conversation after I'm done presenting. We are going to give away a couple of Samsung phones today, but you got to hang out. At some point in my presentation, I'm going to put a link in the actual chat, and you're going to go sign up for it. Just enter your email and name, and then at the end, we'll do a giveaway. With that being said, let's give the presentation. All right.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Let me move our faces out of the way. All right. So hello, everyone. Introducing myself, Roger Kibbe. I'm a senior technical evangelist for Samsung. So, I go talk to people about building amazing things on Bixby. You can reach me at Twitter at Roger Kibbe. And just a couple personal things. I'm a son. I am the father of two teen daughters, and I'm a UC Berkeley graduate. So go Bears. Jonathan, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure, guys. Hey, my name's Jonathan Pan. I am also a technical evangelist with Bixby. Like Roger, I actually won a hackathon back in the day, and then I ended up working with Bixby to help promote it and to, spread the excitement to build stuff for Bixby. And I have a lot of cats that I love very much. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
Great. All right. All right. So if you go to github.com, and actually I'm going to spend my time here in the not in this presentation, but actually in GitHub, clicking around /Bixby developers. Look, we have 24 different repos, and some of those repos have several different Bixby capsules. So I wanted to actually just walk through GitHub today and kind of show you, if you're a beginning Bixby developer, here's some places you can get started and see some sample code. If you're intermediate, here's some places to definitely look at. And if you're advanced, here's some places to definitely look at, because I know there's a lot up there, and sometimes you get questions about where do I start, or I am looking for code around this specific feature. Where do I find that? Well, it's all up in GitHub. So let me give you a little tour of GitHub. So I need to change my share to my browser. And why are you not showing up? Hang on, guys. A little technical window. All right, let me stop the share. Sorry, and then I'm going to try to restart it again. All right. All right.
Having some PowerPoint technical difficulties, right?
No, not PowerPoint. It just doesn't like there's two. Here we go. All right. All right. So, all right. There you guys go. All right. So I am in. Sorry, guys. Lots of flipping back and forth here. So give me a break today on this. All right. So I am in GitHub, github.com/Bixby developers, and there's a bunch here. And what I wanted to do is kind of walk you through this and show you some things that, depending on where you are, if you're Bixby development, would be helpful. So first things I want to do is show you, if you're a Bixby starter, where are some capsules to get you to learn Bixby. By the way, I have all the links here in a presentation that we're going to be sharing to our Twitter and Facebook account feeds afterwards. So you don't have to bother worrying about capturing these links. That'll all be in that presentation. But So if we go in our repos and first one I'm going to show you is called States and Capitals. So any of you might have seen this if you've done that kind of Bixby 101 YouTube series. Really, really simple capsule lets you ask what's the capital of a state. So it's really designed to get you to understand Bixby. And there's a whole video around this that I did actually a couple of years ago now. So great place to get started to understand Bixby basics would be look at that video and check out this code here. All right. The other one. Oh, let me go backwards. Hang on. Okay. Is this rock, paper, scissors. So a little more complicated. This is something that we did for a voice lunch presentation a couple months ago. But has basically a rock, paper, scissors game in Bixby, and you can check that out. And so here you get a little bit more of a game playing flow and an idea how to develop that with Bixby. So that's under the rock, paper, scissors capsule. All right. And then the last beginner one I want to show you is in. So we just started this. If you go to this thing called Capsule Tutorials Collection, and matter of fact, it's on the top because last one we made an update to right now. This is where we started to put our tutorial code for new tutorial code for videos that we've done. Jonathan does a lot of amazing videos there. We decided to organize them into its own repo and not have dozens of separate repos there. So the one I want to show you though is Bixby Hello World. And indeed, if you've gone to our YouTube presence, that's the first thing that pops up. It shows you how to write a Hello World capsule with Bixby. So probably it's number 3, but it's probably the simplest of the 3 code examples I showed you. And Jonathan has a video that is up on YouTube, and you can also just see it. Click on here in GitHub, and you can see the Hello World. So those are the 3 capsules that are on GitHub that I would suggest for someone who's just learning Bixby. All right. All right. So now, the other thing I wanted to show you is, let's say you are an Alexa developer but you haven't done anything with Bixby. Well, late last year, what we did is we did this little, we did one of these office hours, in fact, and it was all about porting an Alexa skill over to Bixby. And what we did is we took the Alexa pet match skill, and this is in this capsule sample pet match port GitHub repo. And what I did is I actually took the pet match skill, pretty well known Alexa example thing that's up on their own GitHub repo. And I did 2 things. One, I ported it directly over to Bixby. So this is in this direct port. Direct port, that's the capsule there that has the direct port over it. And so this is a good way if you look at the Alexa skill in the code for pet match, and then you can go and direct port and you can see the equivalent in Bixby and see the 2 of them running. And indeed, up on YouTube, we actually had the video when we talked more about this. And then I did something I called Bixby Enhanced. And what I basically did, pet match is pretty simple. And so I enhanced it. I had some graphics and some kind of Bixby specific things to kind of make it a little bit more polished. So you can kind of understand, okay, here's the basic port and here's some add-ons that you can do with Bixby. A lot of that's around the UI and making the UI look a little better and showing you how to do that with Bixby. So that's a good place. Like I said, if you're an Alexa developer and you haven't done anything with Bixby, then check out the Capsule Sample Pet Match port. All right. All right. Now, the other thing I want to show you is these 2, and they're up here in our pin repos. So there's a fact capsule, and there's a quiz capsule. So pretty much anyone who's built anything for voice, I'll bet you the first thing you built was something around facts, right? I think both for all three of the voice assistants, kind of the first thing they talk about and how to do that. So that's in the fact capsule, how you do that Bixby. And then there's a quiz, how do you do that with quiz. And indeed, actually, in the Bixby Studio, when you fire it up, there's this idea of templates, and you can just create a new fact or quiz with a GUI in there, and you can look at the code, but you can also look at the code over in GitHub, and it's just really, really common design patterns. And still, even though they're so simple, there are really simple but very, very well-known voice experiences that if I look underneath the code and I think about it, I'm like, that's really a fancy fact capsule, or that's really a fancy quiz with some adornments around them. So I put them in here, and I think of these as kind of common design patterns to build things for that. There's obviously a lot of things where people just threw things together, but if you're clever, you can build a pretty cool thing with these. So those would be things that I call common patterns, and that's what I talk about in my presentation that I'll share as the common patterns GitHub capsules. All right, so let's jump up here, and I want to talk about, let's say if you're an intermediate Bixby developer, you've done all these beginning stuff here, you're like, okay, I'd like to see something that's a little more complicated. So let's go. Oh, here, yeah, I forgot it's pinned. So this movie agent. So this is something that we built for a Samsung Developer Conference, which was actually now about 1.5 years ago, because last year, because of COVID, it was canceled. But this is something that goes and finds movies and makes an API call. Got pretty rich UI. There's this goofy little quiz to kind of choose a movie for you, or you can find a movie based on genre or the actor or the name of the movie or the year. So really good example of a moderately complex capsule, pretty rich UI, pretty rich capabilities voice-wise, and calling an API in the back end. So I'd say this is really, really good code. And I pointed many people here to go and see a pretty full-featured Bixby thing that's been built out. This would definitely be ready for, don't submit this to, because it'll get rejected if it's just a clone of what's up there, but good enough to actually go in the marketplace, the movie agent sample capsule. All right, the other one I want to show you is Capsule Samples collection. Okay, so there are, in Capsule Samples collection, there are a bunch of individual Bixby capsules. And the whole idea here is we wrote these very simple capsules to show you how to utilize a feature of Bixby. So for instance, in here, if you wanted to understand audio streaming, you click in, there's an audio capsule here. If you want to understand better how we do error handling or HTTP API calls, or these share via, or how to send a text with Bixby, permissions, user context, selection learning, which is personalization. So we have a bunch of individual sample capsules that show you how to do something, how to utilize a particular Bixby feature. And indeed, when you look in the Bixby documentation, it'll often refer to you and have links to these sample capsules. This is probably my personal favorite repo, because even though I deal with Bixby all the time, I forget how things work. And I'm not the type to read documentation. I'm the type to go jump into the code. So I look in Capsule Samples collection, I'm like, oh yeah, how is it that we do an audio stream, or how do you do error handling? Let me see the examples here. So I really, really love this repo that has all these individual things in here. All right. All right. Now. All right. So space resorts. I would call this advanced Bixby. All right. This is actually written, now 2.5 years old or something like that. Something we did right after Bixby was initially released. It's quite a complicated capsule. Okay. And what I mean by complicated, so it's this whole idea of it. In it, you can go and there's these resorts on various like planets and moons, and you can go and reserve a resort to take a vacation there. So there's a pretty complicated flow, both visually and via voice. It uses transactions. It shows you how to use transactions within Bixby, because clearly if you're creating a reservation, you'd want a transaction. There's a bunch of advanced Bixby features in here. So what I would tell you is, please, if you're still learning Bixby, and if you go into space resorts, you're going to get lost quickly. I'll be honest, sometimes if I look at the code in space resorts, I get lost. Because it's pretty advanced stuff. But anyway, it's there as an example of a really full-fledged kind of business use case. You could use it kind of the core of building kind of a hotel reservation system or any kind of reservation system, and an example of kind of the power of Bixby. So definitely check out that when you're ready is what I'll say there. All right. All right. So that is what I wanted to show you on GitHub. I know I went through that pretty quickly, but like I said, in the presentation, I have links to all of these. So you can go back and you can check them out at your leisure. Just check us out at Bixby Developers on Twitter or Facebook, and we'll post the, right this afternoon, I'll post a link to the presentation. It'll be up. We actually put all of our presentations on GitHub. So just like all the past ones, this one will be up on GitHub itself. Actually, let me show you where that is. We're sitting here in GitHub. So you see this presentation share, right? All right. And here's all from various presentations we've done. And where it's going to go is in office hours. So not up there yet. But these are some past office hours. It'll be up there this afternoon. But I'll send you a direct link there. All right. Now, this is super cool. GitHub, you can go, you can, download the zip, or you can clone a repo and get it in the Bixby. But I want to show you something we just introduced very recently, which is a direct integration of Bixby with GitHub. So I need to change my share. All right. Hopefully this works better this time. It's not. Did I shut down Bixby Studio? All right. Why are you not showing? Huh. All right. I have to go through this rigmarole of stopping the share. Hello, everyone. And then share again. We're actually running through this. Okay. Bixby Studio. Okay, cool. All right. All right. So you guys should all be able to see the Bixby Studio now. Is that showing up? Yep, looks like it. All right. So you've always been able to, if you, this default values, that's a capsule that I just released a YouTube little video, not YouTube, sorry, on our social media, Twitter and Facebook, a little tutorial on default values. So I was working on that when I recorded the video yesterday. But if you go add to workspace, all right. So I said template, that's always been there. But look at credit. This is brand new. Create capsule from samples. So if I select that, that's what I do. It directly integrates with a bunch of those capsules that are in GitHub. So I mentioned audio as a sample capsule, bank. So a bunch of these ones that are the simple ones. Which one do I want to open up here? Movie agent, I mentioned that. So if I just click on this, give it a capsule ID, a space to hold it, create local copy, and boom, you have movie agent. So you don't even have to go to GitHub to download it. You can just go to here from sample, and boom, I can see a bunch of them. And we don't have everything on GitHub out there yet. We have a bunch of things there. There's space resorts, states and capitals I mentioned there. And so it's kind of a way to browse what we have in GitHub without going to GitHub and being able to load it directly into the Bixby Studio. And then you can go to town, try it out, code away, use it as the basis of your amazing capsule creation, or just use it as a learning, something to learn. So definitely check that out. And super easy to use. All right. All right. So now I'm going to stop my share. And I am going to put in the chat, I mentioned we are going to be giving away 2 of these guys. These are these Samsung A50 phones today. And as I mentioned, the way this is going to work is I'm going to put a link in the chat. And between now and just before noon Pacific time, so in about 35 minutes, we'll do the actual drawing. So you need to go click the link, and it's a Google form. You're going to enter your email and your name, and we use that. So there is the chat. Put it in the chat. Check it out. Please go click on that, add it, and you will get a chance. And I think I'm giving away 2 phones today. So good luck in winning those. All right. So with that being said, I think we can open it up to kind of open questions and things. You saw
Sure.
1 page of my presentation. My presentation has all the links to all the things I showed you in GitHub. So anyway, John, what's up?
Yeah,
Jonathan,
so
any questions come?
No, actually no questions yet. I think your presentation was just that clear, Roger. I think
I can't believe that. So really, this is an AMA. So anything you want to ask doesn't have to be about. Happy to go back into GitHub and show you anything there, or the studio, or it'll be me and or Jonathan. We'll happy to answer. So any questions, go ahead and throw them up on YouTube Studio.
Yeah, so I mean, as you guys can see, the Bixby Studio creating a capsule from the sample is, incredibly fast. I've actually been using it a lot recently, just to grab a working but simple capsule to have kind of a basic starting point for developing. Because otherwise you have to create a bunch of different files, right, in order just to do something really basic. But by importing one of the simple capsules, you can get all those files that you need, plus a little additional functionality in no time at all. So yeah, I actually find it to be very useful.
We got a question about how do you get your capsule on other devices other than mobile? Oh yeah, so great question. I'm actually gonna go back to share the studio and show you guys how that works. All right, boom. All right, let's get out of this sample capsule thing here. Okay, so in Bixby, you can actually, and that's a really good question. Often the default is people first build for the phone, but you can also build for the watch. I have mine on today, like this, and the refrigerator. I don't have a refrigerator. I actually have one of the fridges. It's a pretty cool thing. Giant tablet on there. And you can develop but not release yet for the TV. So there are 4 different devices you can target, and it's actually super easy. So let's actually look in Movie Agent, and I'm going to look in this capsule.bxb file. And indeed, this is set up for all 4 of them. So let's see, I will make that a little bigger for you guys. There you go. Hopefully nice and big. So you see this target, bixbymobile.en.us. All right, so it's Bixby mobile device, the phone, in the EN-US locale. So that's basically how you define a target. Now this one, we've added 3 more. So it added Bixby TV, Bixby Watch, Bixby Fridge. So this works in all of them. So now if I actually go and run one of these guys, I'm going to fire up the simulator. And, oh yes, the share is showing the wrong thing. Okay. So I should have been sharing my whole desktop, but I have my giant monitor today. So it looks like minuscule on, actually this is pretty small. All right, let me switch over. So now when I switch over, I'm going to do the Movie Agent. And you guys, when you're developing, you may not have looked at this very much, this target. If you've just been doing for mobile, because you just and confirm. But because that's set up for all 4 different devices, actually I can choose Bixby Mobile, TV, watch, or fridge. All right, so let me show you. So right now, if I show that and all right, so the movie agent is asking about genre, and it's clearly looking like a phone screen. Let me show you what happens when I change it. It's most dramatic when I change it into, into a watch. The TV is wide. The fridge looks, quite frankly, it's basically like a giant tablet. So it looks similar in the simulator, but watch me change it to a watch. And then run it. Look at that, round like the watch face. All right, and so this is there's a lot of scrolling for a watch UI. Honestly, if you're building a watch capsule experience, you probably want something simpler. But just a simple example of how easy it is just go in there in that target, and let's go back there. Here you are, Bixby Mobile. And by default, it's just Bixby Mobile, but TV, watch, etc. Right? So let's say I want this default value is one I'm sure if we go, it's just for the watch. It'd be really easy for me to just go, boom. Now it works in the watch. Now, I will say there are features and functionality that work on mobile that don't work on the watch. That's a topic of its own conversation that I'm not going to get deeply in today. But you should definitely check it out. Check out the documentation and see what happens. Particularly the watch is a little bit more limited. I would say most things that work on the phone also work on the fridge. And that's just a general purpose statement. All right, other questions?
Yeah, we got a couple more. So one, let's see, the next question from, I believe, Jesus. Is it possible to share Bixby code between other platforms?
Yeah, so, oh, sorry.
Yeah, oh no, go ahead, Roger.
Oh, yeah, Jonathan, jump in. Jump in if you want to answer something. So the Bixby specific, okay, so one thing when you realize when you're developing for Bixby is the amount of traditional code that you write is really small. You end up a lot in this thing called Bxb modeling language, and you're actually modeling rather than traditionally coding, and that is Bixby specific. So I mentioned that pet match Alexa port. So to give you an example, I think pet match for Alexa, and I'm probably wrong here, but I'm gonna get, it says something like 450 lines of JavaScript of node code in there. And I believe that Bixby equivalent has something like 30 lines. Because much of what that logic is that's sitting in Alexa actually in JavaScript is actually moved in Bixby over to the model. So there's a bunch of modeling you do instead of traditional coding.
I don't have an answer for that.
And my voice assistants are all on right now. Turn these things off. I have all of them.
The mic's back on.
I don't want you on.
The mic's off.
Sorry about that. So that code is definitely specific to Bixby. Once you're in the JavaScript, sure, you could move some code over there. I mean, I am so really serious cross-platform development you're doing across voice assistants. I would look at something like Jovo. I think it's a great platform. I think it does it really well. Or move all your stuff. I mean, you could build a Lambda. Let's say you built a Lambda and then expose it through the API gateway. And then whether you're building for Bixby or Alexa or Google or a mobile app or anything, just kind of good programming pattern to do. So long answer to a simple question, a question I had to kind of explain.
Yeah. Okay, so the next question from Nimesh. Nice to see you again. I wanted to create a capsule for setting more than one alarms like 7 a.m., 7:05, 7:10, etc. in intervals of 5 minutes. How can I get access to the alarm APIs? So I'm not sure if there's like a deep link that can actually do something with the alarm app or with the Samsung alarm app, but there's not really anything directly from Bixby to set like for at least building your own capsule for setting alarm things on your phone that I'm aware of. But like if it supports some deep links, you could do it with your capsule. Of course, like you can just ask Bixby to set an alarm, right? Because Bixby can set alarms, and you could probably ask it to set, an alarm for every 5 minutes, right? I'm actually not sure if it can do
Yeah.
that.
Hey,
Yeah.
Nimesh, this is a great question, and you got us both stumped. I'm not aware of something like obvious,
Yeah.
like there's an alarm API on there, or that there's a deep link. But can I suggest that you put this question on Stack Overflow? We have a whole team that monitors Stack Overflow. Make sure to tag it as Bixby, and then they'll go check it and can do a deeper. And then the reason I like that is then we can also share the answer with anyone else who has this kind of question. Excellent question. Don't have an answer for you. Throw it on Stack Overflow. That would be my preferred thing. If you want to reach out directly, that's great. But if you don't mind throwing it on Stack Overflow, then we can share the knowledge, share the love, so to speak.
Okay, so the next question from Junior, nice to see you again as well. Can you explain the file legal.bxb? And we have documentation on this, which oops, sorry, hit my microphone. Hopefully that wasn't too unpleasant, but I'll paste the link to the docs in the chat. But basically you have, I can just read this. It defines the set country-specific legal agreements for your capsule. So for each country that your capsule is available in, you'll want to add some, terms of service or anything like that you might have for your capsule. This is where you would put your terms and conditions, privacy policy, additional terms and conditions, cross-border. There's a lot of different possible legal stuff that you can put in it.
Hey, Jonathan, quick question for you and things
Uh-huh.
like that, because honestly, I'm a little bit in the dark about this too, because I know it exists. But we've always had in capsule.bxb the requirement, ability to link to terms and conditions. And a matter of fact, if you use certain permissions, like if you want to get the user's location, then you have to have a privacy policy in term, and that needs to be something web hosted, right? Web hosted. So is legal Bxb? I don't think that's available that way. Is it? It's a way for the review team to understand what your capsule is. That correct?
I'm actually not sure where it sits in the review process, to be completely honest, because I haven't reviewed a capsule for a while. I think that's a good question for the review team in terms of like whether or not it's necessary nowadays for whatever countries or stuff like that. But either way, I'm sure that if it's needed and you submit your capsule and you want to be live in a country that the legal.bxb file is required with specific terms and conditions, I'm sure the capsule review team will let you know, and then they'll provide you the feedback needed for what you want to put in your legal.bxb file. But no, that's a great point. I'm actually not sure where it lives nowadays in terms of the review process. So, yeah. Okay, let's see the next question, also from, let's see, Junior, can you provide an explanation about, I guess, various files like Bxb files? Bxb files, they use Bixby markup language. So, they're kind of different from the JavaScript. They're usually used for legal, for like, capsule property, capsule settings, and also for like modeling and views, dialogues, that type of stuff. So that's where the Bixby syntax is. And yeah, that's kind of what the Bxb files do. Let's see, Jeff. Hey, Jeff, nice to see you. What are some cool capsules that you recommend checking out? Roger, do you have any cool capsules that you recommend?
Oh boy, most of the work that I've seen, and I think, is people adding things to the new targets. Okay, so I'm biased because we did a remodel of our house, and I bought one of the Samsung fridges. So I like to see the stuff up there, and what's built in. And so I would say there's some cool new things for the fridge. But I will actually, here's what I will say. Something that actually we just updated, which is much, much better than before, is we have always had this template for podcasts. And when it originally came, it it worked and it was nice and things like that. And you could see the episodes and you choose one and then you could play one and it would just do that. We just made a big update to that. So now if you recreate it with podcasts, when you're actually playing one episode, you see a list of all the other episodes. And so it's really cool because I don't know about you guys, but if I'm listening to a podcast, sometimes I'm like, you know what? Oh, shoot, I've already heard this episode, or you know what? This is a boring episode. I'm going to check something else out. And what's really nice about the new podcast template is now, even though I might be playing one, I can see all the others and I can go select one of those. So I'd say that's one of the cool. It's a new feature we built. And if you built something for podcasts, go recreate it using that, because it's much better. The UI is a little sharper. It looks a little nicer. It's an improvement.
It's great.
And what about you, Jonathan?
I primarily use Bixby for entertainment purposes, usually. So I like a lot of the classic fun ones, like meme generator still. I like trivia too, so I still use my Quizlet Capsule on occasion. So for me, I find Bixby pretty entertaining to use like that. So, okay, let's see. Next question from Ben Force. Are there plans to support publishing with a command line interface so I can set up a CD pipeline? And I don't believe right now there's much we can say about the CLI integration or anything like that, unless Roger, you've had any.
Okay. So first of all, Ben, I love that. My favorite question of the day, because I'm going to share with you that I beat up the internal team. They're sick of me talking about this, actually, because I really, 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 really want this, actually. So I am totally aligned with what you're looking for. Nothing yet, but I will say they are definitely aware of it and definitely aware of the need. And I think it would open up a bunch of things. And, you definitely want, not only for some of these apps that are kind of code generators there, but also, as you said, if you wanted a true CD pipeline, right, you'd absolutely need a command line interface, and probably actually command line and along with and or some API calls. Ideally, you have both, so you can do it at the command line, or you can just make some API calls to have some things happen. So I'll share that you have internally a huge fan of what we're happening. That's all I can say.
Right. Yeah, it is a pretty requested feature, very popular. So let's see. Next question from Jeff. Is there an open source collaborative project for Bixby which I can join to learn and contribute as a part-timer? So right now, I'd say I wouldn't really say there is one, but I mean, frankly, if anyone really submits improvements to anything on our public GitHub, like as a pull request, we'd be happy to take a look at it.
That's a great idea. Yeah, if you want to do a PR and have a suggestion and things there, we'd be happy to take a look at it or fork it or increase it.
Yeah.
So no, we do not have anything like a collaborative open source kind of thing going on. But it's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
There.
And
let's see. I'll grab the next one. What's that? Sure. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Sorry. Oh no. Yeah, go ahead, Roger. Go ahead.
Frank. Hi, Frank. How's it going? Been a while. Frank won when we were doing a road show for Bixby. Mm-hmm. He won for kind of best capsule, this thing called Senior Workout, which is still very, very cool. Mm-hmm. So has there been an update to allow a capsule display in both portrait and landscape resolutions, ID text, phone or tablet rotation? I know, Frank, you've been asking that for that in a long time. And I wish I could give you an answer other than no, there hasn't been. I know it's been discussed, but yeah, because the problem is in the tablet. I mean, particularly in a tablet, I think you want to rotate it and probably have it work. It works, the UI works, but it's not optimized. What Frank said, I know what you're asking for is it to detect it and so you kind of redraw the UI. A little bit like what happens with some Android apps, right? Or many mobile apps is that if you rotate the phone it redraws the screen and the UI to accommodate that. No, not yet, but please keep asking.
Yeah. Great. So
Comment?
the next question. Let's see. I'm not gonna try to say your name. I'll probably butcher it, but I saw you guys opened up some Bixby features for India. Yeah, I'm actually not sure about that. Roger, have you heard about that?
Yeah, well, I know you made me. Are you referring to the fact that Bixby now supports Indian English? So yeah, that actually was announced and supported. So the issue, so the challenge is, so yeah, now Bixby developed. So there's kind of two Bixbys out there. They're the same Bixby, but there's the Bixby in Korea and the US that is open to third-party development. And you can go, and it has the third-party development marketplace. And many of you probably on this call have already submitted a capsule or aware what I'm talking about. In other regions of the world, in other regions of Europe and Asia and the rest of the world, Bixby's on the phone, but it is restricted to kind of what's the built-in capsules or capsules that have there's a partnership with Samsung for the developer. So yeah, I would love to see us open that up for India, other parts of Asia and Europe in the marketplace. And that would be where you'd allow, then we could add, I think the following question, are you guys going to have a hackathon or something like that? Yeah, that'd be the logical thing. You know what? Boom, we're opening up Bixby for India. We're opening up Bixby. The other country I hear a lot about is Brazil. We're opening up Bixby. Junior, if you're on there, that was for you. If we open up Bixby in the marketplace there, the logical thing would be have a hackathon to really, it's a great way to get a bunch of capsules on there and kind of kickstart the marketplace. So nothing to say right now, but I like your ideas.
Yeah. Okay, so we've caught up with questions for now. So if you guys have any additional questions, as always, just throw them into the chat. We're always happy.
I was going to point out, somebody brought up the meme generator capsule. Yeah, that is a really fun capsule, actually.
Yeah.
It's sitting there. It's not in the market, but it's up on GitHub. And if you want something really fun that kind of really shows off Bixby's multimodal capabilities, yeah, check out Meme Generator. It was built internally, and then we open sourced it for people to kind of build on top of it. So, yeah. And I'm sorry, I misread the questions. I will say, I thought that it was about hackathons or Bixby Dev Jams, and I thought that was a follow-on to the question, and I just was reading you're in general, nothing scheduled right now, but stay tuned.
Right.
All right. So what other questions you guys have? If not, I have a question for you, Jonathan.
Uh-oh. Okay.
We've all looked at a lot of capsules.
Mm-hmm.
What's a couple of the things that you see a lot where you're like, man, I wish developers would do this or this? It would just be kind of an improvement in their capsule, right?
Let's see.
You can throw the question at me too.
Yeah, sure. One thing for sure is more like dynamic dialogue, because like a lot of capsules, they just kind of use the same message over and over and over. And, it's cool to hear like, it the first couple times that you use the capsule, but maybe like the third or fourth, fifth time, you want a little bit more variety in dialogue. So, generally whenever, like actually every time I build capsules, I always have variants in the dialogue. Actually, that's not true. One of my capsules doesn't, but most of my capsules has variants. Most of my capsules have variants and randomized dialogue templates. That's a big thing that I think makes every capsule experience better, is a randomized, at the very least, a randomized template with at least 2, 3, maybe 4 if you're feeling ambitious, different dialogue templates for the same type of response, right? Let's see, another cool concept. I personally like using refreshes a lot, but they're kind of buggy. So I guess I really actually shouldn't really bring that up, because they have some problems with when the refresh happens, if you do a command at the exact same time the refresh happens, then Bixby's kind of state management gets a little confused. But besides that, refreshes can be used very creatively. And Min's done it. I've done it. There's a few capsules that have used it, and some of them are pretty cool, very interesting stuff. So yeah, those are a couple things that I like to see in capsules. So what about you, Roger?
Yeah. So I think the bit one, I love the random, and it's so easy in Bixby to make it random.
Mm-hmm.
That's such a great comment, Jonathan. Right? It's so easy, right? You can put multiple, and it's a way it prevents your capsule from sounding robotic. And I see this in just voice experiences all over the place. So one thing one thing that I've been doing, my personal goals in 2021 technology-wise, is to get a lot more up to speed on conversational design. So I've been reading some conversational design books. I've been involved in some conversations. I've been talking to conversational designers because I think there's a lot of work to be done there. And really, what it is, it's just thinking about the kind of the interaction, primarily with voice, with your application, and does that work well, right? Because once he gets up, have you tested a bunch of things? And if you ask, have you, there's 50 different ways to say something in English or any other language, right? And so does it work with a significant subset of that, right? Get people to actually use your capsule. I will see that I've seen a lot of capsules where I'm like, man, I can see the developer put a huge amount of effort into the actual code and logic of the capsule. And then I go look at the training part and I'm like, man, it feels like they did the training. They threw it on at the end. And the problem is in any voice, that training, that is the interface to your application. Now, Bixby is multimodal, so you can have a UI too, but that's the primary interface to your application. That shouldn't be an afterthought. That should be, you should start working on it right away. It's to get that right is easily, in my opinion, the hardest part of voice development, and where it's really as much of an art as a science. And so pay attention to your training, try it out, get other people to try it. Because there's so many things out there in the voice world where there's a lot of great code. The interface, the voice interface for it isn't so great. And so it's like hidden genius because nobody uses it because it's hard to use. But if it just had a better voice interface, it'd be the coolest experience ever. So spend some time, energy, and effort on that. So
yeah, it's great.
I think there's a couple more questions, actually.
Yeah. Next question from Junior. What is the category on the big? Oh, so I think he's asking which category is the most popular on the marketplace? Yeah.
What is it? Games and entertainment?
Yeah, games and entertainment. It's pretty popular.
What's the other one?
Education and reference. There's
Education
a lot of
and reference.
there.
Yeah. Games are still, that drives like every platform. So there's a lot out there. But I do think hey man, I like building games as much as anyone, right? In education reference, there's a lot of those templated fact skills in there. So which are, it's a great way to get something to start out in there. But, there's some, if I were building it, I look at the categories that don't have as much, right? Look at the road less traveled. Because if you want to get discovered and you go into the marketplace in games and there's, you have to scroll and there's literally, I think there's a couple hundred in there, at least. It's hard to find it. Whereas if you go in some other things, they're pretty dearth and there's not a lot there. And so the chance that your capsule gets discovered and someone actually uses is a lot higher. So go where the path is less trodden, if you can. That doesn't mean, hey man, I love building games too. So if you're building voice games, I appreciate it. I love it. It's kind of the funnest thing to build. So I don't, stick it in games. If that's what your passion is and that is what you love, go for it.
Yeah. A couple more popular categories would include, I think, weather and food and drink, I'd say is pretty popular. I know we're lacking in like the local section and, some others, but you can definitely go to the marketplace and like Roger said, see which ones don't have a lot of capsules for. So, yeah.
Awesome. All right. Do you have any tricks or tips to doing something cool, like having Bixby join a Clubhouse room? Oh, that's a good question. But especially since Clubhouse just got released for Android in the last, there's a beta release for Android out there. No, I don't know. That's actually interesting. I don't know if Clubhouse has, and I know it has deep links actually. So you should be able to do that. I haven't tried that. Now you get a little homework because I'm actually a big fan of Clubhouse. I really like Clubhouse actually. I like the impromptu nature and the conversations there. But yeah, I mean, I guess the tips or tricks, if you're talking about kind of integrating Bixby with a mobile app, we make it pretty easy to do a deep link into a mobile app. And so go figure out what those deep links are, or call an Android intent, I believe it's called. I'm not an Android developer, so you guys could run circles over my head pretty quickly here. And you could do some interesting things. I will say that a capsule will get rejected if it's just like, if you just put a capsule that launched Clubhouse, for instance, or was basically very simple front end to Clubhouse, it get rejected. It has to have some value as a Bixby capsule there. But yeah, no, I think you could do some interesting things there. Yeah, you got my brain going. That's an interesting idea. I love the idea of integrating Bixby and a voice-driven Clubhouse.
So Roger, should you toss the link back in for people that may have joined a little later to have a chance?
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, I'll give you a last chance. Oops, that's not the right link. Hang on. Let me go grab the link. Last chance. Hang on.
And then I guess we'll answer.
You want to be ready
questions.
for the giveaway?
Yeah. And then give away the phone soon.
We're going to give away the phone soon. So if you want to be eligible for a phone giveaway, I just put a link in the chat. Click on it, enter your name and your email. We're going to do that in like 2 or 3 minutes. So go run over there and do it.
Okay. So yes, let's go through a couple more questions really quick then. Next question, other than existing documentation, what blogs or books on voice interactions are worthwhile? Unfortunately, I don't really read blogs or books in general, but I do recommend the Bixby Developer Podcast hosted by ours truly, Roger, right here. So that's definitely something worth checking out when it comes to like discussions about voice. And he talks with a lot of very prominent people in the voice industry.
I'm the person asking, I'm Jay Chang. Are you talking voice interaction? Are you talking about technology books, or are you talking about things around the kind of conversational design that you were referring to, that I was talking about earlier? So let me know. There's other books. Let me know which one you're talking about. Any update in adding accessibility marketplace category? No, I don't have an update on that. I think it's a great idea. Think about testing Bixby capsules. Oh, yeah. Conversational design. Oh yeah. Yeah. Boo, 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 boo. You caught me, and I don't have my reference and stuff and things like that. There is so the kind of must-read book about conversational design is by a lady named Kathy Pearl.
She's with Google, right?
Yeah, she's done lots of things. Here, I'll give you guys the that is a must-read. Here, I'll go ahead and share that. I'd recommend that to anyone there. And then I am reading a book, and I have my browser shit. Oh yeah. Okay, this is an awesome book. I am actually reading this right now. Conversation with Things by Rebecca Evanhoe and Diana Diebel. And why is this not let me? Why is the link like 500? I don't know why the link is 500 characters long in the chat. All right, not letting me do it. All right. It's called Conversations with Things. Rebecca Ivanhoe and Diana Diebel. I'm actually in a book club about conversational voice, sponsored by Voice Lunch. Go if you're interested in Voice Lunch. Great way to keep in contact with the community. But yeah, check those out. I probably have some more. I'll tell you what. You know what? DM me on Twitter or something, and I can share a bunch of stuff with you about conversational design. Like I said, it's my 2021 passion. So I don't want to fill up the conversation much as I'd like to, talking about conversational design.
Right.
There.
So I guess circling back to Jesus's, I think you're asking about how to test Bixby capsules. Generally speaking, the simulator is pretty accurate for how it behaves when you use Bixby Studio, but we do have on-device testing that's very easy to set up if you have a Samsung Bixby enabled phone. So you can have a little bit more accurate representation of how your capsule will behave once it's deployed to production. But it's still a little different, right? But that's how you would go about testing it. Is first you kind of rely on the simulator, and then you would try on-device testing if you have a Bixby phone. And finally, the capsule review team will test it for you on all the targets that you have, and they'll let you know if there's something wrong with any individual target. In the situation, you can't, accurately test everything. So yeah, that's what I would say about that. And okay,
right, are we ready to give away a phone?
Yeah, I think everyone's
two?
Ready, Roger. I think
things like
ready.
that. All right, looks like we have 63 entrants here, right. And I'm going to give away one of these. So I'm going to ask Bixby to choose a random number between 1 and 63. You need a number between 1 and 63. All right. Well, it usually gives me a cute little sound effect. Oh, I have the volume all turned down. But the number is number 23. 23. Robert Frost.
All right.
All right, Robert. I don't know if you're out there in the chat still, but you are a winner.
Congratulations, Robert Frost.
Robert, we're going to send you an email. I just need your address and a phone number, and we'll send you a phone. All right. You guys ready for one more? All right. So I'm going to ask Bixby again for a random number between 1 and 63. I need a number between 1 and 63.
Running some quick calculations. Drum roll, please. Your number is 33.
33. It likes the ends with threes today.
Yes, it does. 33
is William, Will Burns. William, you have, or Will Burns, you are a winner. All right.
Congratulations.
Same thing as Robert. You got to expect an email and then address and phone number, and we'll get that phone off to you. All right, guys. So great. Look, I think we're wrapping up.
Yep.
Thank you. There was a follow-on. Somebody had, the Conversational Design, DM me on Twitter. And then there was an open question about, I'm forgetting what the open, I said to put it on Stack Overflow. I'm forgetting the question.
Something about alarm setting.
Oh,
alarms.
Right. Setting alarms. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Put that in Stack Overflow. All right, guys. Hey, so like I said, or I didn't say, but I'll reiterate, Jonathan and my job is to talk to people like you. So please don't be shy. Please reach out to us, ask us anything. We'll be happy to answer and help you guys. And follow us on Twitter at Bixby Developers. And I will put a link, or you can find us on Facebook. Jonathan, what's your personal Twitter?
John without the H, but the John part has an H, so it's a little confusing. But I think a lot of you.
Here we go. I can put it up on screen. Hang on. Since I've been sharing screen all day, I can do that. Hang on. Share. Right.
There it is.
Bigger. All right. So mine's at Roger Kibbe, and John is more fun, so he has John without the H. But thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend and go build something cool for Bixby. And we have these monthly, so we'll be doing it in another month. And we haven't decided on a topic. We might have one. But if
Yeah,
you
I
guys
think we
have
got a couple.
topics that you'd like to hear, share them with us, because we would love to. We kind of scratch our head and think about topics, and the community out there is going to be better than we are about coming up with topics. So don't be afraid to share them. Thanks all.
Yeah.
All right.